Loading. And we are live with Dakota Robertson for round two. Dakota's the founder at Growth Goals. He's on a mission to help 10,000 people build a life of freedom with ghostwriting. He's constantly sharing his experiences with writing, brand, and business. Previously in Kelowna, British Columbia, now in South Africa. I'm still in Oaxaca, Mexico. And this podcast is brought to you by bookwritegpt.com. If you want to write your own book with your LinkedIn post, you can go to bookwritegpt.com. We have your own Kindle book written in a couple of minutes with your own voice and your own LinkedIn posts. Dakota, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, basically, I'm a ghostwriter, and I show people how to start their own ghostwriting business. So ghostwriting is basically when you pretend to be someone on the internet and write content for them with the goal of getting them more followers, more leads, more opportunities, all that. But yeah, just been focused on growing the ghostwriting business, the ghostwriting coaching program, and yeah, try not to have a stroke while working. So,
So it's been stressful today. Needed the gym, it seems.
yeah, it's a good stress though. It forces me to adapt and grow.
Is that how you manage your stress? You go to the gym. What are your other outlets for that energy, that extra energy?
Uh, Primarily work and working out. That's my life, but also I got good friends, so I'll call them. We'll just talk on a call and just talk about whatever. I walk a lot and meditate in the morning, but I'm pretty boring. I'm like an old man. Sometimes I'll like go do stuff. I went skydiving last week, so that was cool. But yeah, in terms of stress relief, just doing the work and working out.
Skydiving would scare the shit out of me. I remember the first time I did it, and would be the complete opposite to releasing stress. But oddly enough, I do motocross almost on a daily basis, which is way more dangerous, and that releases the stress. So I guess to each their own outlet, right? How's South Africa treating you so far?
It's great. I've been indoctrinated with Cape Town. The community is amazing. The food's amazing. The just everything. I think I want to move here longer term, and yeah, so I would highly recommend.
And there's Iman that's been there. I'm not sure if he's still there. There's Guillaume Mubesh that's now there, the founder of Lemlist, and a bunch of other founder and CEO friends of mine. What's different between this and Kelowna?
Well, for one, the taxes. Canada's just absurd. But I mean, with Kelowna, where I'm from, it's very similar to here, actually. I think that's probably why I like it a lot. But I think a bigger entrepreneurial crowd here. The food is better. It's not as processed, and yeah, it's just a bit bigger, and it's like the sweet spot for me, where it's not too small, not too big, population wise, and yeah, and a good time zone too. So yeah,
How's your Q1 so far with Growth Ghost?
Yeah, it's been really good. There's been a big focus on my side with building systems and automations and making sure fulfillment is top notch, and I'm pretty happy with where we're at. And now we're just going to start ramping up on lead gen and getting more people in now that we got like a really solid foundation. So that's been a big focus for me for the past year and a half, just dialing in systems because I'm more creative. So I tend to be more scattered and all over the place. So it's been a good skill to develop and learn how to be more organized and how to track stuff and automate stuff, and that gives me more bandwidth to be creative.
And does that limit your creativity to have system, or it's just about setting system boundaries and letting your creativity explode into them?
Initially, it definitely hinders it because I'm putting my focus in all these different places, but it's a short-term sacrifice for a longer-term gain because I can be more creative when I don't have all this stuff going on in the background. I'm not putting out fires and stuff. If there's a system and it's automated or I delegate stuff properly, then I can focus on what I'm good at and what I enjoy. And ultimately that's a win in the long term.
And tell us specifically what you're building here and what kind of fires you have to extinguish on a daily or weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing I'm building right now or focusing on is the coaching program and then dialing in the systems for the fulfillment for the ghostwriting agency. But for example, some things I've built that I didn't have a year ago was one, a CRM. It's hilarious. But weekly check-ins for people in the program. So every week they get an automated email. Hey, fill out your progress report. I fill out or have a report that they fill out each week, and I can track, okay, how are you progressing? Did anything come up? Do you need help? What were some wins? XYZ. And they rate our performance as well as a company or a team. And that way we can see, okay, is there holes we can fix or improve on? So things like that. And then, some of the things, I mean, it's always different. Like I had to sign up for Go High Level and learn how to use that. And then things are breaking with the automation, or I don't know how to use Go High Level. So I got to pay someone to do stuff. And then also just managing a team like sales and a setter and all this different stuff. And I hate it in the moment, but it's really good for me as an entrepreneur because I'm getting all this experience and I'm learning not only how to deal with challenges, but I'm also refining my way of dealing with problems and getting better at that. So when I go to create content, which I love in the future, I now have the experience to speak from, and I'm not just making stuff up or talking from theory. I actually have the experience. So even though I don't enjoy it the most, I think it's a necessary thing if I want to help other people. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that CRMs, most of the time, they're not needed, especially at a smaller scale. Like my CRM personally has been my email contacts list. So Substack or Apollo, for example, sometimes even instantly. I think CRM by definition are messy because they aggregate pretty much everything. But yeah, most people don't need them, oddly enough. I believe that ChatGPT can be a good CRM. I'll double click more on that later on if you want. But talking about that, do you feel that instead of hiring people, do you feel that AIs can do a better job if well prompted to fix your problem? For example, understanding Go High Level. And second, when do you think that agents will kick in so that can not only ask questions to AIs and fix their problems, but actually have them do some shit for us?
Yeah, so I have this problem where I like to do everything myself, and so I was talking with ChatGPT and going back and forth on how to fix a problem with Go High Level, but I'm just like going back and forth, and it just needs more context because it's not like it's going in the software, even though I'm screenshotting stuff, because ChatGPT or these AIs are aggregating information from online. And so if I have a specific problem and ChatGPT doesn't have the latest update or whatever, then it's going to be harder to figure out. And I just found myself just wasting hours doing that, even a whole day, when I could have just went on Fiverr, paid someone $50, and they would have just fixed it within an hour, which what ended up happening. And so now I'm just trying to develop the mindset. Okay, is this worth my time? Can I just pay someone, whatever, and then they can go do it? And I think Naval had a good tidbit years ago on the Joe Rogan podcast. I believe it was that one. But he was saying, assign yourself an hourly rate, and if something is below that hourly rate, then delegate it or automate it. I see how true that is for myself as I progress. Yeah, and AI agents, those are crazy. I actually went to a mastermind like a month ago, and a guy was showing how to use AI agents, and I was just seeing this. I'm like, damn, this is actually not too complicated to learn. It's just like Zapier and ChatGPT had a love child, And if you know how to prompt and you know how to kind of use Zapier, it's not that difficult to figure out. And yeah, I think it's gonna be huge. I think it's gonna replace more and more people and make businesses more efficient. And I'm just amazed by how many people are being resistant to AI and not implementing it in their business or with content or whatever. Because it's absolutely mind-boggling what it can do. Like seeing ChatGPT and the AI image generation can do. It's mind-boggling. Like I was paying designers however much to design a carousel. Now I can just do this within seconds just to create these images. It's like crazy.
Right. Even with infographics, you tried the latest version of ChatGPT. It's pretty
Mhm.
crazy. Um, are you using AI on the ghostwriting side of things? Are you teaching your students to do that, and to what degree?
Oh yeah, it's a really core piece. It's everything is pretty much everything is based around it. So I'm teaching them the frameworks for writing content, for branding, for whatever market research, and they learn it so they can recognize it, like what makes for good content or whatever. And they're by no means a pro, but at least they're building recognition for it. And so what I do is I create prompts on how to create content, how to ideate, how to do market research. And so as they're going through the curriculum, they're actually working with AI more and more, and they're getting more comfortable with it while applying these frameworks and learning it. And so it makes the workload a lot easier, and they're they're basically an AI ghostwriter. Obviously, you still got to go and write stuff yourself, but like it's reducing the workload by up to 70%. If you have the right context, if you have the right prompts, the right information, you're just feeding it to the AI, and then you're creating this crazy system that basically lets you get ahead of everyone else. But yeah, I can like spin up endless ideas. I can spin up uh, endless posts if I want. And then I just got to go and tweak it a bit. And yeah, it's crazy, but it does take a lot of upfront work to create those templates, to give it the contextual information. And yeah, but it's so worth it. It's nuts.
And what's your process? It obviously starts with an idea in your brain, but I also see in your polls that you preach long form writing, which is the equivalent of going to the mind gym if you want and get ideas and sculpt your mind, right? So will you still do long forms nowadays? Like what percentage is human written? What percentage is fully AI?
Yeah, when it comes to long forms, like the way I treat AI is it's like an assistant. So I'm not going to get it to write everything, but maybe like pieces here and there. Um, or if I don't have a structure, I'll say, hey, using one of the post templates I gave you, please create a post for this idea. And then it will create it. And then I'll just go in, I'll change the details, and maybe I'll add some snippets or anecdotes. I'll add my own personality to it. So it's really good at creating that initial momentum. Or if I have a piece of writing and I need to simplify it, or if I want to come up with an analogy for something, I'll get it to do that. I mean, some days, yeah, you use AI for the whole post, or not, like probably like 80% of the post. Other time, most of the time, it's like I'm using it for 20% of the post just to tighten things up, get different ideas. But I use it every single day, every day. When it comes to long form, like if I'm writing a story, that's usually just all me. I don't want the AI to write a story for me because it doesn't have the context. Maybe changing some details, making it sound better, or structure, adding structure to it, but primarily it's all written by me. Um, but yeah, I can't put like a good number on it. Like, but it's crazy. You can get it to write everything if you know how to prompt it. But the problem is, like, if you don't understand what makes for good writing, what makes for good content, what makes for a good brand, if you just say, hey, write me good content, write me a nice post, write me a viral hook, AI is not going to know how to do that. Or it's going to be unlikely that it will be able to do that because there's so many sources online, and you're not being specific with the prompt. Even if it does create a hook, you don't know whether it's good or not because you haven't learned what makes for good content. And so I think it's not a replacement for thinking. It just makes you more efficient as a thinker or a writer or content creator. So it's like if I handed you the keys to the most advanced rocket ship in the world, would you know how to drive it? Probably not. Or fly it, I guess, not drive. But that just shows it's not the technology. Like, you have the most advanced technology, but if you don't have the knowledge, then it's useless. And so it's very important that you still develop your thinking, your writing, your content, and use AI as something to amplify that, not replace it.
Right. It's an amplifier. It's like the infinite sign. You know, if you have a nice brain and you feed it, it will feed you back and so forth. Think it had like you need to understand the infrastructure of it and give it like proper context, which is usually like having all about having a good brain and good neuron set of yours. So what I do, I just binge write my posts to it, right? Like I spit everything that I have in my mind, and it's prompted to write in some specific context that is more digestible to my audience, because else they wouldn't understand shit, you know. So is that the good way to go? Also, I add layers, right? Because naturally as an individual, I'm not gonna quote statistics, I'm not gonna quote research about stuff that I write. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's, yeah, because it's really there's two pieces to content. Well, there's multiple, but two big pieces. You have the idea, and then you have the structure of it, or like the wrapping. Like I like the analogy of a gift. You know, you have the content of the gift, and then how it's wrapped, the packaging. So in this case, you know, you speaking to the AI would be the idea, the gift, and then the AI is gonna make it look nice. Maybe give it some white space between the sentences. Maybe add some bullet points, structure different, you know, pieces in different places. That would be the gift wrapping. And so when you have both of them optimized, that's really contributes heavily to making a good post.
Right. I think also you need to be naturally interesting as a person taking your post. You know, yours wasn't on purpose, right? Like the crack hack, the starting your post. Like my dad was a crack addict. That's a pretty good hook.
Yeah.
No puns intended. So, uh, yeah, I think you need to be interesting as an individual. You need to have the stories, right? If you're gonna go the authentic way, which is the most scalable way, right?
Yeah, that's I think that's the big step a lot of people want to skip. You know, they just want to create top 5 lessons, top 5 books, all this stuff, and you know, it's fine. But at the end of the day, you know, everyone else is doing the same stuff. So how are you going to differentiate? And it's going to be with storytelling and sharing your unique perspective, experiences, worldviews. And at the end of the day, I think that's what makes for a brand, not a following. I think a lot of people are making or growing a following, not a brand. And I think the difference is, you know, brand is something, someone that you relate to or aspire to be like. You know, following is just like entertainment, you know. And so if you have a brand, people will buy from you and they'll pay more. If you have a following, you're just, you know, you're just another dopamine hit.
Right. And talking about creating this interesting reality of yours, it's been 1 year since we last spoke. How have you evolved as an individual? You mentioned like the skydiving, the South Africa move. What risks are you taking to create new stories?
I dated a Latina. That was a good one.
I still date a Latina. It's 8 years in the game. Married her.
You survived.
Yes, they're hardcore. They're like
They are. They don't play
emotionally
around.
next level.
What type? What area?
Mexico, Oaxaca,
Oh,
Mexico.
okay. Yeah, mine was
Yeah,
Mexican too.
very
She was
creative
spicy.
area. Yeah, from what area? Yours?
I don't know where in Mexico, but she lives in London.
Okay.
But no, she was amazing. Yeah, but I definitely got the experience sometimes. I was
Right.
like, whoa, the stereotypes are true. No. But yeah, there's that. Those are nice relationship, and we're still good friends. Um, and I guess recently just realizing I'm kind of getting old. I'm only 27, but in the past 2 weeks I got diagnosed with sleep apnea. My hair is thinning in the front, so I got diagnosed with male pattern baldness. I have a thing called bruxism, so that's when I like clench my jaw because of stress. And there's something else I gotta get fixed. I forget what it was, but experience all those things just made me realize, like, damn, I'm going through life. I'm not this 20-year-old anymore. I'm 27. It's still really young, but just it's interesting to experience and just realize, oh, you're not invincible, and you are going to experience different stuff, and it's only gonna increase as you get older. So it's been yeah, it's just been really interesting. It's cool, I guess, kind of too, because you're experiencing life and all of that, but I prefer to experience it in a different way. But also maturing as a business owner and entrepreneur, um, learning these different skills, getting a, a lot better of an understanding of sales, marketing, all the stuff in between, and how to run a proper business, how to develop systems, how to run a team. I would say I'm weaker in the team area and other stuff, but I'm working on it, and I'm trying to get better. So I'm just really developing my skill set and getting a more nuanced take on different areas in business, not just create content and marketing.
Right. Yeah, let's start with the Latina stuff. Yeah, if you want to get like, I don't know, 10 levels up in the EQ game and practice your patience, it's a very good test. I'm gonna tell you that. Second thing, yeah, getting old. I'm 31, so 4 years older than you, and I think there's like the compounding effect, right? Like especially in business, so you get richer. Of course, health might decline. Me, the hair thing happened after my last 100K that I did 5 months ago. After that, my hair couldn't be as pretty as before. So yeah, doing A/B test for that, and yeah, sleep apnea, that's a big one. I think my wife has it. So how did you get diagnosed with all that? Did you get that at a biohacking clinic or something?
No, actually, I started going to the dentist because my teeth were worn down in the enamel
Yeah,
because I grind my teeth.
yeah.
And he actually said he wanted me to get a sleep test to see, I don't know, something else, but he said it might be sleep apnea or it might be something else. And so I got a sleep test, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you got sleep apnea," because I got that thick neck. And yeah, and then from there, I was like, I just want to get a blood test because I'm here, might as well, whatever. So I got a blood test, um, and then I noticed my hair was thinning, and that's never happened before. I've always had really thick hair, but it was thinning in the front, and I was just like, oh shit. And yeah, and then I got the blood test back, and apparently I'm at like really high risk of what was it, homocysteine? I got really high homocysteine. I don't know what the hell that was, but apparently it's a big red flag. I got to get fixed and some other stuff. But it was a good eye opener. I'm glad I got that blood test and all these tests done, because imagine if I went on without knowing that, I didn't try to fix anything, and maybe a year or 5 years passed, and I'm facing this big health crisis. So I'm glad I caught it now and not later. So yeah, now I'm making lifestyle changes. Oh yeah, ADHD. That was the other thing I got diagnosed with.
That's since last time we spoke. We spoke about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that
I
was
think
like,
you
yeah, it was
suspected it back then.
yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. And man, this kind of scary though, man. I went there, diagnosed me, started giving me 30 milligrams of Vyvanse, and then today I get a prescription and it's 50 milligrams of Vyvanse. He hasn't even checked in with me, seeing how I've been doing with and it's only been 2 weeks, and he's already given me another 30 days worth. And I'm like, I don't think this is right, but I guess whatever.
Yeah, Mexico, it's over the counter. It's modafinil, right?
Oh yeah,
Is that what you have as well? Or
yeah. That's what I was doing in Colombia. I was taking a lot of modafinil.
yeah, It's great. To microdose it, maybe half a pill. So like this one's 200 milligrams. No health advice here, but yeah, 100 milligram on the weekend. Uh, with me time when wife's at the church or something, just like crunch 12 to 15 hours of works, and on the modafinil scale of things, that's the equivalent to like 1 month of work. It's pretty insane. Yeah, like you have all these diagnoses. Do you have like a coach or psychotherapist as well to modulate your ups and downs?
I should get one, but no. I got my journal. That's my psychotherapist, and meditate. I feel like I'm pretty good on the management of emotions and stuff, but yeah,
Mhm.
it was really helps having good friends in my circle. I
Yeah,
I I think that's huge. Having people
yeah,
you can talk
community.
to. Yeah, I think that's even more powerful than having. I mean, in different cases, but for me, it's more powerful than having a therapist or
Yeah,
psychotherapist currently. But yeah,
yeah. Quick hack is like saunas and cold plunge with breath work, like Wim Hof. Pretty
oh
sure you've mixed that. That's like a big reset. I also
yeah,
have a
100%.
psychotherapy GPT nowadays that helps me reset, and it
Yeah,
also gives me reframes, right? Because I found that most of her mental blockages are mental, right? Like
yeah.
obviously it stems from her value and her identity, but as soon as we have like a blockage, is like, oh, I need to reframe that thought into this thought, which will serve me instead of like blocking me and frustrating me all the time. What do you think about that?
hmm That's smart. So do you give it context on you and
Yes.
your shit? Do you have like a custom GPT for that?
Yeah, it's called
Um,
psychotherapy GPT. I have a bunch of GPTs that I give to my audience. I'll give that one to you and see how it performs. But it's pretty nice because I mean, you see like these better help ads all the time on these podcasts nowadays, but you can't really call a psychotherapist if you have like an urgency, right? Which is like a high stress
mhm.
spike or a fire to extinguish. So you just open up the psychotherapy GPT. You can even call it and chat with it. It knows all your shit. And yeah, one of my favorite approaches is just reframing. It's the most asymmetric change node that I've seen. I just feed it my thought, and then it reframes it in a positive way. So it's pretty
Mm.
helpful. Dude, we're out of time. Let me know quickly, where can people find out more about you?
You just type Dakota Robertson anywhere except TikTok, and you'll find me.
And Boardham.
Yeah, and my OnlyFans. You can see me lather my feet up with peanut butter for $4.99 a month. And just kidding, please don't look that up. But yeah, just type in Dakota Robertson anywhere, you'll find me.
That's Dakota Robertson and